Alright, another year is just about to wrap up, or maybe it already has, depending on when to get this video uploaded. Well, either way, it is time for me to give you guys my list for the top 10 best movies of 2025. But before I do, just gonna make some really quick points once again, as always. First point, these will not be in-depth reviews of these movies. I do have in-depth reviews of these movies on my channel if you want to check those out. These will just be my quick points, why I love these movies, why they made the list. And also, this is my personal, very subjective list. So, you may see a movie on here that you may not agree with being on here. You may see a movie that's not on this list that you think should be on here. Well, that latter point could be one of two things. Could mean I didn't see the movie you were talking about, or it could just mean I didn't love that movie as much or enough to put it on my best of the year list. These are the movies that I saw in 2025 and hit me to my core. Alright, disclaimers have been made. Let's get right into it. So in deciding the number 10 slot on my list, I went back through the list of movies I saw this year. I was choosing between quite a few and figuring out which one to put on there. But eventually I decided to myself, you know what, The Naked Gun is going on the list. You know why? Because not just because it is the hardest I have laughed at a comedy in a very long time, not just because it is the most fun I had in a theater with a comedy in quite a while, but this was a comedy that wasn't afraid of being politically correct. It wasn't afraid of making jokes that were maybe too edgy for some people. It was a comedy purely focused on making you laugh, and I laughed my ass off. Liam Neeson's deadpan humor completely worked with this movie. His chemistry with Pamela Anderson was awesome. It was great to see her be able to make fun of herself a little bit. The movie takes the stupid humor that we see in these parody films and executes it to such a smart degree that really works with the story, with what the movie's going for. And speaking of parody films, this one has increased my confidence and excitement for Spaceballs 2 when that gets here. I'll tell you that right now. Next, number 9 is a movie that I actually wasn't really intending to see this year because the hype for this movie just got way too big. I was afraid it was just too much at this point, but everyone kept telling me that K-Pop Demon Hunters was a movie that I would really like. And yeah, these people were right. I loved it. The reason why I loved it is it went back to what Disney classic animations used to be but just aren't anymore. These strong female heroes who are also flawed, human, and, you know, likable. Some solid humor, some really great animation, some very catchy songs, at least quite a few that I have listened to on more than a few occasions. Also had some fun action sequences. I really love the take it had on demons. Like, are they these evil, horrible monsters, or are they just these broken, damaged souls? It's a movie that seemed like a really silly concept, but ended up being so much more than that, and I'm really glad I didn't let this one slide under the radar. So this movie at number 8, when I first saw it and reviewed it, I certainly appreciated it and I enjoyed it, but I did have the fear that if I ever rewatched this movie, would it hold up the same on second viewing? And though I still need to rewatch Weapons, I cannot deny that it is a movie that I have never stopped thinking about since I saw it, and frankly, the more I think about it, the more I love it. Because this is a great mystery thriller. There was so much hype going into it. I mean, a bunch of kids walked out in the middle of the night, never came back. We have no idea what happened to them. The cast across the board all do a fantastic job. I love the way the movie told a story from different perspectives of different characters. It had a very Pulp Fiction kind of vibe. You're trying to figure out who might have done such a thing or what might have happened to these kids, and the whole way you're on this journey with these characters trying to solve these different little pieces of the puzzle. It's a very creepy, unsettling movie that really hones into the fear of the unknown, which I thought was great. Ending's undeniable, a little bit over the top, but I was able to roll with it. Had a great time with this one. I can't wait to see what Zach Cregger does next. There are certain directors out there that may not make movies for everyone. They may have specific audiences, but that doesn't mean just because you're not typically a part of said audience, you should never give these directors a chance. Yorgos Lanthimos' latest film, Begonia, is the prime example of that for me. This movie is still completely weird and ridiculous, but in a way I was able to get on board with. And these two conspiracy theorists who abduct this woman because they are convinced she's an alien. That's nuts. But it was an idea that was intriguing to me, and it completely worked. The cat-mouse concept in this movie was awesome. Jesse Plemons and Emma Stone both absolutely crush it in their performances. The tension in this movie is extremely effective. The whole time you are wondering to yourself, like, are these people crazy? Is this person lying? Can both be true? It also hammered home the message, the human race as a whole, it's terrible and it's completely hopeless. Ending's a little bit dark and strange and may not work for everyone, but I thought it was fitting for the movie. And yeah, this is another one I'm glad I didn't let fly under the radar. Recency bias may be a thing, especially given the fact that this is a movie I just recently saw and just reviewed yesterday, but what can I say? Marty Supreme was awesome. Timothée Chalamet, this is probably the best performance of his career that he's ever given. I thought he completely worked in this role, playing this sleazebag ping-pong player who's just trying to make his dream come true. I didn't give a lot of love to the rest of the cast that was in this movie, but the rest of the cast, undeniably, everyone did a great job. It's a very anxiety-filled ride of this character who's constantly getting himself in trouble, trying to make these really big swings for himself that maybe are working initially, but he just does something to get himself into a bigger hole. I never imagined that a ping pong match, or rather a couple of them for that matter, would be some of the more intense moments I would see in a movie this year, but they absolutely were. Had me hooked from start to finish, and that's credit to Josh Safdie for really giving you a premise that can completely suck you into it, and a character that, while you're disappointed in him in some ways, you can't help but be on board with him. I said in my review for this movie that I would wait to make my top 10 best list until I saw this movie. Very happy I did such a thing. Alright, here at number 5, we have the third installment to a franchise that, let's be honest at this point, you either absolutely love it or you find it wildly overrated. You may find the characters in these movies compelling or you don't. You may find the themes and the way the director chooses to tell his story to be compelling and interesting and engaging and work for the story, or you find them to be just propaganda bullshit that you don't want to listen to. That's right, my number 5 movie of the year is Wake Up Dead Man. Come on, at least a few of you thought I was going to say Avatar, didn't you? These Knives Out movies have just always really worked for me, and I really appreciated Wake Up Dead Man. Benoit Blanc is one of the best characters we've seen in movies in recent years. I thought Josh O'Connor was great in this role as his sort of sidekick for this movie. It's once again a great whodunit. You have absolutely no idea how a murder has happened. You don't know what unfolded. You don't know what might have led up to it. You think there's certain clues here and there that you're trying to be involved with. You know you're on that case with Benoit Blanc, but you just can't seem to figure it out. And it's all wrapped up and brought home at the very end with this great finale. But what I really appreciate with this one, I really loved the theme of religion in this movie. I mean, I grew up in a religious family. God has always been a part of my life. But I really appreciate with this movie how it shows why there are groups of people who gravitate towards religion and why there are certain people who really stray away from it. Shows how not everything in this world is very black and white, how there's a right way and a wrong way to go about certain messaging or certain delivery or trying to bring people on board with something. And say what you will about Rian Johnson, when it comes to the whodunit genre, I really think he knows what he's doing here, and I really can't wait to see what him and Daniel Craig do next with this franchise. Okay, so in deciding my number 1 movie of the year, I will be honest, the top 4 movies, I really had to shuffle these around between each other quite a few different times. At one point or another, any one of them were probably my number 1. But as of today, for this list, this is the order I have them in. At number 4, we have Frankenstein. Before even the year kicked off, I saw that Guillermo del Toro was directing a Frankenstein movie, and in my head, I'm like, that should be great. And it absolutely was. This, for me, is the best adaptation of Frankenstein I have ever seen. I loved the look of this movie, the set design, the costume. You really feel like you're back in that time period. I thought the visuals were awesome. I thought the performances, namely between the 2 leads, were fantastic. Oscar Isaac was great as Victor Frankenstein, this scientist with this obsession of bringing the dead back to life, who's just, you know, mad with this power and believes he's capable of anything. But yeah, Jacob Elordi as the creature absolutely stole the fucking show. He was great in this movie. I mean, he's this monster, but he's this really broken character, just wants to find his purpose in this world. He feels so alone. He seeks companionship, and the second someone might be showing him something, it helps him understand who he is. It's a very emotional role. I just really love the theme of this movie. It's like some humans can be monsters, or some monsters might be human. The only sad thing for me was I didn't get to experience this movie in theaters, and I will admit that's probably what ended up sliding it at number 4, especially given the fact that my top 3 movies were all ones I saw in theaters and were probably also my 3 favorite theatrical experiences I had in 2025. Had I seen this one in theaters, it probably could have been even higher on my list, but alas, could only watch it on Netflix, so here it is at 4. Next at number 3 is another movie that I was highly anticipating going into this year, and F1 did not let me down. Some people out there are just gonna say, oh, it's just Top Gun Maverick in a race car. I'm like, yeah, you're basically saying how fucking awesome the movie is. I thought Brad Pitt absolutely crushed it in this movie. I love how it plays on that old-fashioned story of like this old guy comes in to join this team or join this group of people. There's the young hotshot in the group who has all the talent, but he needs that mentorship. He needs that little push, and the 2 of them end up helping one another. It's an old-fashioned storyline for sure that we've maybe seen a million times, but the way Joseph Kosinski is able to handle storylines like that, He just always finds a way to make it feel fresh, especially with the style of movie that he makes. And yeah, the race sequences in this movie are absolutely phenomenal. If you want to say those are the best ever, I would probably agree with you in terms of what we've seen in movies. I mean, Kosinski just has a way of putting you in the cockpit of these vehicles and making you feel like you are there. You're a part of this race, or you're along for this ride. And also gave me an appreciation for F1 the sport. I mean, I'm not someone who's been involved with the sport, really knows a whole lot about it. I do have a really good friend of mine who's really gotten into it. He's been pushing me to check it out. After seeing this movie, I'm honestly not opposed to it because it gave me an appreciation for what goes into the sport. You know, the racing, the mechanics, the strategy. Joseph Kosinski established himself as a director that can really make you feel like you are a part of the movie. And that's an awesome feeling. So this is a movie that when I first saw it, I went out of my way to say, this is probably going to make my top 10 of the year when I first saw it. And yeah, look at that. Sinners finished as the runner-up. Some out there have called this Ryan Coogler's best movie that he has ever made. And frankly, having watched it now a few times, I'm not inclined to disagree with that. Calling Sinners a horror movie is extremely undercutting it. It is a horror movie, yes, but it blended so many other different genres into it extremely well. You have Western, you have action, you have musical, and it knocked it out of the park in all those different ways, and it found a way to blend all those genres together without it feeling messy, and instead feeling like such an original movie. Everyone in this movie brought their A game. Michael B. Jordan as the twin brothers crushed it. Haley Steinfeld, Jack O'Connell, Delroy Lindo. But yeah, Miles Keaton stand out of this movie. In my opinion, my favorite all-around performance of the year. I mean, he can act, he can sing. How have we never heard of this guy before? The horror elements were scary. The action sequences were intense. The musical moments in this movie, I mean, those things were an experience. Speaking of music, it's probably my favorite soundtrack of the year. I have downloaded quite a few of these songs and I listen to them all the time. Ryan Coogler also finds a way of taking all these different themes and these messages and putting them into the movie and really making it feel a part of the story and not feel like an agenda. Probably the first truly original project he has done, but I really cannot wait for whatever he brings us next. Alright, I'm gonna say this right now. Some of you might have a problem with me having this movie as my number one. I can already see in the comments some of you saying that I'm just a biased fanboy, some of you saying that this shouldn't belong on this top 10 list. Guess what? I don't fucking care. Because Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair was epic. I understand, this edition of Kill Bill, this merged splicing of volumes 1 and 2, has existed for a long time, but 2025 was the year it was released for everyone to see, so I am counting it for this year. Quentin Tarantino, say whatever the hell you want about the guy, and frankly, you might be right about some of your points, but you cannot deny the movies he gives us are incredible. And now having seen Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair, there are those out there that now consider this movie as masterpiece. They might be right. I mean, for me to finally experience one of my favorite Tarantino movies the way it was always meant to, there was no better movie-going experience that I had this year. Everything you know and love about Kill Bill is once again fantastic. The characters, the action, the writing, the bloody violence, the martial arts, the revenge quest, it's all once again fantastic to be a part of. But it's the subtle changes that he did throw into this movie that really just enhance this movie for so much. Characters are developed even more, emotional moments hit you a lot harder. And for this to be a 4-hour long movie, over 4 hours long for that matter, and for me to never feel bored, only just feel locked into this movie the whole time, that is impressive to say the least. This was the only movie for this year that from start to finish really felt like that euphoric movie-going experience that I fell in love with when I was a very little kid and have loved since then. Why I love talking about movies. This is the one movie that truly gave me that feeling in all of my heart. You could say that's a ringing endorsement on movies that we grew up loving or the movies that we know and love. You could say it's a ringing indictment on the movies that got made this year. You could say it's a little bit of both. But it is for all those reasons I listed that Kill Bill, The Whole Bloody Affair has absolutely got to be my number one movie of 2025. And there it is. That was my list for my top 10 favorite movies of the year. Thank you guys once again for being along for this journey. I do appreciate you all being here. I realize I don't have a massive following. I realize I don't get a lot of views on my videos, but those of you that do always show up, I appreciate you guys. And you're the ones who make me enjoy doing this and allow me to keep doing this. And yes, a top 10 worst list is on the way. Be on the lookout for that very soon. But for now, that's all I gotta say. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on my list, whether you agree, disagree, but more importantly, let me know what your favorite movies of the year were. However many you saw. If you saw 10, if you only saw 5, if you only saw a few, however many few, let me know. And also, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. I'll see you all next time.